Just a few days ago, we saw the end of iron and steel making through the blast furnace route here at the Port Talbot Steelworks, with the closure of the sinter plant, with the closure of blast furnace 4, primary steel making, and the last blast furnace iron and steel to go through the continuous casters. You may have seen the video where we were down on the day on the blast furnace cast house floor. We went to the sinter plant and we went to the steel plant and the casters to follow that process through. What you won't have seen, which is probably more integral to the closure of those assets than anything, was the piece that we've come to visit today, which is the energy control. It's the veins and the arteries of the business where all of the electricity, all of the gases, all of the water that runs through the works is controlled. So we've come down a few days later, now it's calmed down a bit, to find out what happened on the day from an energy perspective and to find out what happens next. I'm joined by Mike Ashford. Mike, your energy control engineer here. Great to come back here. I love this place with a passion, and I love the contrast between the older looking controls at the back and the computerized controls down at the front. But if we just think back to a few days to Monday when those assets went down, what happened here in energy control?
Well, we started by having a few extra staff in. We had our senior management people up here as well. And it was basically, there's a configuration that we set ourselves up in, both power plant wise and distribution network wise, to facilitate the blowdown of the furnace. The control engineer is monitoring the electrical side, and the gas controller is watching the gas side. And Steve Maynard is in the background. We had Hugh Johnson and Dean Morgan for operational support, just in case we needed anything outside to help us doing that. So it was quite, the preparation had been done prior to that, and then when the kick-off from the furnaces came with the communication, it was a case of monitoring the systems, making sure that none of our networks were strained in any way, and it was basically monitoring and communications. The control itself was quite calm. It was set up as we normally do for any blowdown. We have a lot of experience with a lot of blowdowns, and it was set up so we got pretty good guidelines for that. Yeah. And then it's a case of just monitoring, communicating, and just sampling gases, coming back and making the adjustments as and when required to make sure that the furnace had all the stability they had for the blowdown.
Yeah, because I know in the blast furnace control room, they kind of blocked off the control room so they got some peace and quiet and were left alone. But whenever you talk to people in the furnaces especially, they were saying, that piece around the gases and controlling the gases that are going through the furnace as the burden comes down especially is critical, because you were telling me earlier that the nature of those gases can change quite radically, quite quickly, and that's very important to control. Talk me through a bit about that.
Yes, the CV of the blast, there's quite a few constituents of the blast furnace gas. We got looking at the oxygen levels, the hydrogen levels, the carbon dioxide levels, the CO levels, and that composition gives us a reasonable sort of stable CV just before the furnace blows down. So we set our gases up on our boilers to make sure that we got the right configuration and the flares and the gas odor. And bear in mind that the power plant still had boilers on there, so they were the consumers. So this gas composition is quite critical to us. So as the furnace is blowing down, it does change with the chemistry of it, and we then are juggling with that to make sure that the CVs are being looked at, and we can make the alterations necessary both for our boilers and for our flares to make sure that everything is working as it should. Yeah. And that's in close communications with the top gas analyzers, with the furnace people, and we use the chromatograph then for these results coming back. So it's a good monitoring process, but those gases are critical for our own operations within the energy department.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear it was calm here, and I'm glad that everything went so smoothly and safely. Yeah. Another good shutdown of the blast furnace and other things that went with it. And of course, there's lots of other assets across the site associated with energy. Here we are a few days after that shutdown, and I guess I'm curious about what's happened in those few days and what's happening over the coming days and weeks, because presumably, for example, the gas holders are either empty or emptying. Similarly, with all the gas pipes around the network. Similarly, I'm guessing you're starting to have to isolate the electricity to supply some of those assets in preparation for decommissioning. There's a lot of work there, isn't there?
There's a huge amount of work and a huge amount of planning has gone into this. And at this present moment in time, as all the energy is subsiding and the pressures, the steam in the power plant, as those pressures have come down, we are continuing with those isolations. As for the gas system, we have started this week purging out all our blast furnace gas mains and lowering the whole to stock level down where it's almost there at the blocks now. It's been made inert and it's continuing in the nitrogen purge. So that's kicked off straight away. The Boss gas hold on its system will be starting next week. Clearly the coke-oven gas holder is still underneath 40% holder pressure at the moment to facilitate the operations up in the decommissioning of the coke-ovens. Power plant-wise, we'll be doing all electrical isolations, huge amount of electrical isolations with drives and pipes and all the rest of it, steam conditions. And that's an ongoing, and the electrical system itself right throughout the works of the substations, that's going to take the best part of up to about 12 months to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of decommissioning to go, but of course it's not all about closing things down for you guys, is it? Because with the electric arc furnace, there's a new national grid connection coming in. There's a piece of work coming your way, isn't there?
Yes, that's going to be in the next 2 to 3 years. The main focus of energy at the moment is obviously the decommissioning. Then we have to make what's left, because clearly not everything's been decommissioned in energy. We still got to keep half the works going with the mills.
Yeah.
So what we got left, we've got to make fit for purpose for going forward. And of course, electric arc is providing maybe some auxiliary infrastructure for that that's just coming. So it's a huge 3 years for energy, huge 3 years.
Yeah, now, without giving any secrets away, you've been in the business quite a while, haven't you? Yeah. And you must have seen some moments in your time. But I guess, the closing down of iron and steel making in advanced electric arc furnace, that must have been fairly momentous for you in your career.
Yes, it is. I've seen a lot of change. Started in 1979. Started with a lot of new developments in the works. Grown up with it, been part of energy all my life, really, because that's the only department I finished as an apprentice with. Change has come, yes, but you've got to embrace change, and let's hope going forward we can go further than just electric arc.
Yeah, well, all the very best to you and your guys here in Energy Control and across the site, because the complexity of this is unbelievable, and we've literally only just touched the surface of it. But when people like Mike start talking to you about all of the systems, the electrical systems and the gas systems, it is absolutely mind-blowing. And as I said at the beginning, it stretches through every part of the plant, every asset, every part of the plant. Some of that's going, and there's some new stuff starting up. So listen, thanks again, Mike, for welcoming us here to Energy Control today. Thanks for explaining in a very simple way what was going on the Monday and the work since. And good luck to you all going forward with the decommissioning and also for the growth of the new assets.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.